Hey everyone, Rick here, and folks, today we are going to unbox both of these Encounter in a boxes from WizKids. Now, these products have absolutely caught my attention for a couple reasons. First of all, they are apparently compatible with most RPG systems as it is advertised here. That is very intriguing to me because of the fact that a lot of what WizKids has produced up to this point, apart from their generic Warlock Tiles line, has been Dungeons and Dragons related. You know, the Dungeons and Dragons pre-painted miniatures line, the Onslaught board game, all that kind of stuff. But this is somewhat generic. Of course, potentially 5e compatible. There's a scenario in here which I'm super interested in because I want to see if I can integrate that with my own Dicey Depths game. There are so many interesting things about these encounters in a box, and even more interesting things about the new adventure in a box. So I don't know. I'll have to do some research. Are these two encounter in a boxes the only two encounter in a boxes, and then they've gone on to the adventure in a boxes? And I'll tell you why I like the adventure in a boxes more, and that is because everything included is a 3D pre-painted figure, whereas in these encounter in a boxes, most of what you see there as figures are those 2D acrylics. So let's start popping these open. First one is the Wagon Ambush, but even though most of the figures in here are those acrylic standees, there are some really unique actual um, pieces of terrain and stuff in here that I don't know that you can get pre-painted from any of their other stuff. I don't like the glare from the lights on the table. All right, let's come over here with it a little bit. Okay, we can hardly escape the glare. So here it is. Here's the stuff that's included in terms of the figures and terrain. See, this kind of thing is absolutely fascinating to me. So these are the fallen tree logs, and they look fantastic, to be quite honest. And there are two of those, and they appear to be, I want to say, identical. Yeah, they look pretty much the same there. And then we also have this wagon, this cart. The wheels look different than the other wagon, but maybe not, because I know they've done wagons like this before. But you see some metal finishes up front, and the rest of it looks pretty nice. Now, these are the pieces that I was actually the most interested in, and that is these pack mules. They may offer an unpainted version of these, but I've never seen a pre-painted version. So this was a little bonus to getting this set, is that even though the figures themselves are the 2D acrylics, we do have two of these pre-painted actual figure pack mules. So I absolutely love that. So we have two of those, and then also this horse. Now, they've done horses before in some of their other 4D setting stuff. Definitely not in this color. I'm not sure about the sculpt. So that is also very interesting. But that's all the 3D stuff. And then the 2D stuff is just this sheet of these four bandits and this merchant. And yeah, that's my one knock against this whole thing, is that I wish it was all just actual painted figures, not. And I have nothing against the 2D acrylics, but I want to keep though. If I do anything with those, I want that to be its own thing, and my 3D stuff to be its own thing. Not that they don't integrate, okay, and I'm sure a lot of people will be fine with that. But I like to keep my figures, my acrylics, acrylics. But they obviously, the art on these is fantastic. So that is absolutely great. Now, I did bring out some actual figures that you could easily just use. Of course, while I still wish the Encounter in a Box came with these, but you know, for example, the bandit with the crossbow, Looks like that's based on this figure. So it would have been nice to get a couple more of those in there. And then this guy with the sword looks like probably based off of this guy. Would have been cool to get one of him in there. Now this merchant, I swear I had a figure that was blue like that, but all I could find was this. But I think that is basically the same individual there. And then of course this. And I may actually have a better version of him, but I think maybe this is him also in miniature form. Now that I look at it, it's almost identical. So we do have the actual corresponding figures for this, but here's what I'm very much interested in. A couple things. It comes with these boards, which are gridded out with, it looks like 1-inch grids, 1-inch squares, and you have like this path through the woods, and they are double-sided. So here is a corner, here is a T intersection, and here is a bridge. So it's like, okay, so as you progress on and get to this part, then you can flip this one over and go to the next side like that. And then once you get to the end of that, flip that over to get to the intersection there where maybe everyone is, you know, lying in wait or whatnot. Look how cool that looks just with the figures on the board. So you get 2 of these. Figures not included, by the way. But this, now this is my first time actually looking at this. I've looked at a lot of this. You know, normally I'll be on YouTube researching all this kind of stuff, but for these encounters in a boxes, I kind of kept it to myself. So I haven't actually opened this up and looked at this at all. So spoilers, I apologize in advance if this is a spoiler. So we have the Wagon ambush. There are the components. And there is a background there, and it's a standalone scenario. So I like this. I just love this. Okay, so there's the assembly instructions for the 2D figs. Here's the scenario overview and ambush locations. Here's what you can read aloud. The turning point. Spots to read out. So this is all for the DM, essentially. And then once you have that, drop 2 logs across the road right at the end of the bridge. Person of interest, the merchant, and the bandit leader. The bandits, they each have names as well. And some plot hooks. Very cool. So that is honestly very neat. I love the whole idea of an encounter in a box with everything you need for the encounter. I do just wish instead of this, it was these. Now, it sounds like Adventure in a Box. Look those up if you haven't. There's a Goblin Camp one that's out already. And then there is also a Were-Rat Den that's coming up. And a, oh my gosh, Mind Flayer one, I think it is. That is also coming out. And those, everything in there is a actual figure. So that is very cool. And I am definitely going to get those. But this encounter in a box, still very neat. I would give this a 7 out of 10 because it is a very cool idea. I just wish the acrylic standees were miniatures, but for those who don't care about that, you still get a lot of really cool stuff in there. So that's number 1. Here's number 2, Prison Break. Now this one actually does have a figure in this box. So that's kind of exciting. And it has some Warlock tiles in it. And actually, I'm really excited about the prison door Warlock tile doors, because those were not, I don't believe there's anywhere else you can get those other than in this set. So let's take a look at this. So let's take a look at these tiles first. So I like this. Look at these prison cells. That is very cool. And you have the stairs. The next one, very interesting as well. And then the reverse, you have a larger cell, it looks like there. And the reverse of this one almost looks like a den, like a cave. So that is also very cool. So 2 again of those. Here are the acrylic standees. And look at this. Now, what in the world are those? I'm not... Wait, what? Are those... I bet the instructions say. I was like, wait, what are those? I thought they were like unpainted treasure chests or something, but I think these are actual clips to maybe clip the walls to the doors or something. I'll have to take a look at that in a second, but let's take a look at these first. Oh my gosh, see, this is what I got the set for, essentially. The prison door warlock tile doors. I think there's a whole pack of different doors that do have cell doors and whatnot, but these specific doors I believe are exclusive to this set. Correct me if I'm wrong. So absolutely love to get those. And plus these are the half height doors. Well, I guess this one could be considered a full height door, but half height walls, which is what it comes with. And as much as I loved the fact they came out with the full height, I was just so invested with the half height that is where I'll remain. So you have two corners, one short wall, and these two doors. And then the one and only actual figure in the set is this. And what is this individual known as? The sheriff. So this is the sheriff. And I believe this is a unique figure. I grabbed one that I thought was similar. No, I didn't, I guess. I did grab a couple of bailiffs, though, because I do have some of the actual bailiff figures that they used in the acrylic version. And again, would have been really cool to get even more of those in this set, but I digress. So here's our sheriff figure. Very cool figure. Absolutely love that they at least included that figure. And then now let's take a look at this. I'm actually really interested here to see, and that's so funny. They folded it like this, but it actually unfolds like this and folds in half to actually get the page looking like this. Those are wall connectors. That's a new type of clip, evidently. Very interesting. But it has the assembly instructions, again, prison break. With a background, before it was a jail, smugglers dug a tunnel into this building's root cellar. Interesting. Location. Oops. And again, spoilers ahead. Scenario overview into the jail, the read aloud parts. And there's nothing in here about stats or anything like that in terms of specifics. It may go into who should, do what and whatnot, but it is very system agnostic. So that is fantastic. Descriptions of everyone involved in this. I keep hitting the tripod. I apologize. But that is very cool. So those are the two encounters in a box. And I gotta say, these are very cool products. I won't wax on about how much I would prefer if the figures were actual figures and not the acrylics. But again, it sounds like the adventure in a boxes rectify that big time. So folks, I still wouldn't turn up your nose at these encounter in a boxes. So as always, thank you so much for watching. I do truly appreciate it. And until next time.